by a certain time frame before they can, you know, deal with it, or however you want to say. I guess they had a time baseline to deal with it. So they released seasons. And the first three big exploits were, like we said, the bounty farming exploit, where you set it to T6. And what you do is you would do like this miner's quest in Act 2, where all you had to do was just activate the quest, run around or find a safe spot to hide, wait till the quest was done, and then you open up the chest, the bounty completes, you get all the experience and stuff like that. There was also another one in Act 5 that did the same thing along the same lines, and also another one involved in Act 1 where it was, I think it was a countess, or like it was like this one where you had to touch all 3 shrines to get rid of the ghost lady or whatever, the matriarch quest. So basically people were doing these bounties that they never could do by themselves, because like, or do regularly, because the shit hits too hard, it will kill you. So they were doing those exploits, and people said, oh well, it's not an exploit, it's part of the game. So people were doing that. So people, the first level 70 was within 45 minutes of the season starting. So that was the first exploit. And some people don't want to say it's an exploit, some people want to say it's clever use of game mechanics. Another thing people were doing to get gems and get certain things ahead of time is like, you would get a goblin portal, and what you would do is once you get the goblin portal with the full party, you would just basically farm the boss for goblins. So you would let her, because every time she crashes into a wall, she produces a goblin. This goes up to 6 or 9 times. So you wait for her to crash into the wall 6 or 9 times, and you kill the goblins, you get their loot, then you purposely die on her, and it resets the fight so you can go back there and keep getting another 6 to 9 goblins. So people were doing that. Another exploit, and this was a big one. For some reason, between Paragon levels 26 to 34, if you're doing a Greater Rift, if you're in a Greater Rift, between those levels, what happens is everybody goes inside the rift. You tag about 13 monsters. Whoever's going to be the leecher, after they tag about 13 monsters, they leave and they stay in town. So once they're in town, right, they get the experience from the rift, but if you have it set to T6, they are also getting the experience from the T6 multiplier. So Blizzard never thought somebody was going to actually stay in town and get experience, because when you're getting experience in anything outside of a bounty, anything outside of the Greater Rift, if you're getting experience from something, the T6 setting would amplify that experience. So long story short, a person can get to Paragon level 300 within, I think it was about 10 hours. And then after that, within 24-hour game time, within 1 day, people were like Paragon level, 500 plus and shit like that. And that had been in the game for weeks, so you couldn't tell. Some people were saying, oh, this person who has high Paragon levels, oh, they're playing the game legitimately. How do you know? They could have just did it for a couple hundred levels and not said shit, because no one wants to report the exploits on the servers because they want to wait for the game to go live. And that's what they did. So those were the first 3 major exploits of the season. So that was the first 3 major exploits: the Goblin exploit, the Bounty exploit, and then the Paragon exploit. They dealt with the Paragon one, but they didn't re-roll back any of the people that did it. King Conger was streaming on the stream. He was AFK while people were doing the glitch for him, while he was a leecher, and he was getting tons of experience, and Blizzard didn't do anything about it, and stuff like that. And he just did that, and he got a lot of subs and donators out of it, because that's what most people do. So that was the first case. Alright, now after that, then Turbo HUD start popping up. Turbo HUD's a third-party application that allows you to see things on maps that you're not supposed to do, and see extra data behind the scenes that you're not supposed to see by reading your RAM, right? Sometimes it feels like somebody's following me, and I got no privacy. Thanks for the follow, Ella Radar. Appreciate that. So when the Turbo HUD came out, the original creator of the Turbo HUD said this could be a problem in Greater Rifts. So he said, you know what, he disabled the Turbo HUD so that it would not work in Greater Rifts, because it can give you advantages. It can tell you where monsters are, it can tell you what monster mobs you have, it can tell you what affixes they have, so you can avoid them, you can skip them, you can stay out of stuff. This is not some bad in softcore, but it's really instrumental in hardcore, because in hardcore you can go to high level Greater Risk, because you can tell what kind of mob you have and what affixes they have before you even get on the screen with it. So it gives you that extra advantage, because you know which way not to go, you know what mobs where not to go, you know where all the items are. It marks all the chests, marks all the pylons and all that kind of shit. So people were using that. It got so bad that Demon Hunter actually posted a picture of him saying something in hardcore or showing off something, but he fucked up and left his Turbo HUD on the screen. or whatever, and it posted in the screenshot, and people can tell he's using Turbo HUD, and then he acted basically to lessen the blow. He got ahead of it and said, "Oh, I've been using Turbo HUD, and Blizzard, you need to ban it. I've been cheating." And he made this long descriptive post about it, and it got filled up to one big full forum post, and then when it got to the secondary, Blizzard just made it go away. So he admitted that he was using that exploit, the Turbo HUD, to get an advantage. He could see things where other players can't. He can get the little advantages to make the difference, and he overtook Gabinator by using that shit like that. And he became rank 1, posted his name, and his name is still up to this day, and Blizzard has never did anything towards him. And then the funny thing is, Gabinator went on a whole thing about how I don't exploit, I don't cheat, when he was using the Malphite exploit, or oh gosh, what's his name? Who's the main guy in fucking Reaper Souls? It's so bad I forgot his name. Malphite or some shit like that, because I haven't fought him. We know we fought him once in storyline, we never seen him again, because Act 5 is just shitty. Malaphiel, I think. Anyways, he was using that exploit to get all his Paragon levels, and I always told people, like, well, he bragged that he got Paragon level 1000, but it would have been one thing if he would have been streaming on a regular basis, and, you know, he's at 600, then 700, then 800, 900, and 1000, and he shows his technique, and that's just how it goes. Malphite, thank you. So that's what Gabinator did, and then he shows up right before, you know, he shows up right before he hits like 1,000, and all these people want to give him all these commendations. Say, where were you streaming before that? So that was my whole deal. So that was one big thing, and even he admitted to using the experience exploit to get the levels and seasons. Gabinator did when that first shit came out. So those are the first 3 ones. Then the Turbo HUD came out after that. And Blizzard hasn't done anything about Turbo HUD. But anyways, the creator of Turbo HUD says he doesn't want his actual game Turbo HUD to be used in Greater Rifts because it takes away the spirit of competition, because it shows you a lot of things you're not supposed to. So he disabled it. He disabled it, says it doesn't work in Greater Rifts. Somebody else reverse engineered his program and got it to work for Greater Rifts. And then since he didn't want people using a third-party product, hacked version of his Turbo HUD, he went back and just enabled it for Greater Rifts. And that's still being used to this day. So that's another one. So after all that got done, then we found out there was another exploit that worked out for Greater Rift leaderboards that worked like this. 4 people all queue up for the Greater Rift. Sometimes it feels like somebody's following me, and I got no privacy. Hey, what's up, Looney? Okay, so... Alright, so that's what happened with that whole situation. Now, after that, here was the next exploit. The next exploit was the 4-group, 1-person Greater Rift bug. 4 people would all link themselves into a game. They would all join inside the game and go into the game, and that's what they would start. That's what happens in the Greater Rift or whatever. They would all join up, go in the game, and then one person, like a barbarian, would stay and everybody else would leave. That one barbarian would clear up into the boss and spawn the boss, right? Everybody inside the party would hop back in, right? They would get the boss really low on HP, and then they would all leave. The barbarian finishes off the boss. He gets a credit while using a 4-person party, but he gets ranked on the solo leaderboards. So that's another exploit people were using. So basically, 4 people come in, you go ahead and solo clear everything, and then basically you bring them back in, they help you kill the boss down to low HP, they leave, you kill it, you get ranked on the leaderboard. So that was another issue that we're having. And I'm trying to think, what was next after that? Oh, they recently found out that people were basically getting trial tokens to ridiculous levels. What they would do is that one person creates the Greater Rift trial token, everybody else declines. That person, as soon as they go in, right, they leave, they teleport back to town, and then they go back in. Then everybody in the group can teleport to that person. So they're doing Greater Rift trial key making with mobs that are only scaling with a 1-person basis. They're not taking in account of the extra people that are inside the Greater Rift trial. So that person can get key. I've seen keys at the level 62. That's how people were doing that shit. So, like, they were exploiting the Greater Rift trial keys. And like I said, trials been fucking up a lot of shit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, really. I remember back on PTR, well, that we won't count that because that happened before PTR, before Seasons came out. Outside of that, the only recent exploit I've seen lately is that I saw one on Gabinator. He was inside of a Greater Rift. he got the boss to spawn. He invited his friend into the party. He left the game, created a new game, switched out his gear that was more efficient for killing the boss. His friend re-invited him back into the game, which kept the portal open. Since the Greater Rift was still tagged to Gavinator, he hopped in and he killed the boss. And now, oh well, and then here's another one. You had a lot of people cheesing the Greater Rift Shrine. So for instance, the reason why Raycore Barbs are able to do so well is because they can kill elites, really high level elites, even up to like, even solo, up to 50, 52, 53 by themselves. They can kill them very easily, but the thing that Raycore sucks at is the Greater Rift Guardian. So what they were doing is, this is why Conduit Shrine got nerfed. People would always just look for Conduit Shrines, and they would leave a group of mobs around them when they're until they're 99%. So let's say I get to the floor and I'm about at 80%, right? I find a conduit pylon. I want to leave some mobs or drag some mobs next to the conduit pylon. And then what I'm going to do is go off and kill some rest of the mobs and get it to 99%, come back, kill the monsters by the power pylon, or bumps out the power pylon, the conduit pylon. And then after I do that, then the boss spawns, I touch the conduit pylon, the boss instantly dies. That's why they had to nerf the conduit shrine, because people were just exploiting that. It was called conduit shrine cheese. And this is all in ranking, right? All the shit I said, this all happened in seasons supposed to be ranked, and nobody got punished for this, no one got exploited, no one got rolled back, nothing, okay? So then they nerfed the conduit shrine. But what Blizzard realized is that you can't have any kind of pylons in the shrines or anything inside the Greater Rift because people will exploit it. So now I heard there's like a new conduit shrine exploit where wizards are using it in combination with Pain Enhancer. Just today I found out where they can get to Greater Rift level 51. And this is by using some effect with the Pain Enhancer. If you get a conduit if you get like a conduit with a combination of like your Pain Enhancer, it keeps it makes the Pain Enhancer damage stay at that damage as it was affected by a conduit shrine, so they could run through and kill everything. I heard that. I gotta look more into that. And then I heard some monks were using the Nemesis Bracer so that when they hit the pylons, they can spawn the mobs, and it also spawns the boss when they get close to the highest levels. And then they use like this lightning ability, or it ricochets a conduit pylon off. It's really a big mess. And shit like that, you know. And somebody says swapping gear in another game is fixed, but power pylon with Wiz and Ruby exploit are live. Yeah, like this is all the shit that happened in one season. So like that is like the history of everything. This is what everything that's happening with Blizzard. And if you were to talk about this in forums, people will call you a faggot. People will just say, oh, you're fucking just jealous. And it's like, no, I'm not jealous, but I don't want to sit here and use all the... I mean, it's stupid to look for a whole rift to be determined on whether or not you get a fucking conduit shrine. That's stupid. Instead of actually balancing and scaling the game appropriately and making smart decisions and shit like that, and when to get past a mob or when to skip a mob or not, like this is what they do. It's like that's what people want, and it's just people who do that, and Blizzard doesn't want to fix it because I guess it's a big headache for them to fix. So there's probably a lot of exploits in the game right now. Is Blizzard going to deal with it? Maybe, maybe not, but there's going to be a shit ton of exploits in the new season. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a lot of fucking exploits, and that's just how it's going to go down, and there's nothing you could do about it. It's just how the game goes. And I know I don't want to sound like I'm pessimistic. I'm just saying I wish Blizzard would change this shit so we don't have to deal with this anymore. And it's gotten really out of hand. And I don't even post in the forums no more because no one wants to listen. So if Blizzard wants to keep doing this, that's fine. I just tell people, when you play seasons, look forward to playing with your friends. Look forward to getting new gear. Don't take anything seriously in terms of ranking because everybody exploits. If you want to be at the top, you're exploiting. If you want to get that perfect run, you're going to have to make 100 keys of a certain level and spam that level over until you actually just get a good rift and you beat everything. You know? So what they need to do is they need to make it so that it ranks your Greater Rift system on the average of rift attempts. Like your last 3 rift attempts, it averages it out, and then that's what your current score is. Or what they need to do is just cap the Greater Rifts at level 40... for single player and for groups at level 50, and you get points for every time you clear a greater rift, and then those points add up to your profile, and they rank you on your profile experience points. Like for instance, let's say every time you clear greater rift level 10, or I'm sorry, level 50 or 40, I'm sorry, you get 10 points for the single player ladder, and then they add that 10 points to your profile. If you clear level 30, you only get 5 points. Something like that, like a point system like that. So that at least people who are constantly playing the game, they can do that, they can rank that way. Or what they need to do is they need to rank you based on your Paragon levels. Just say whoever gets a Paragon level 1000 a certain way, and then put a cap at how much the maximum amount of experience per hour you can get. Something like that. They really need to redo the shit, or just basically get rid of leaderboards altogether and just put more good content into the game. That's what they need to do. You know, that's just how it is.